I think we've only got time for 2 more questions, so this gentleman here and this lady here. Should we start with you?
So, I know the perfect world, you can just visualize everything, or you can put all your visions on film. So, I know sometimes, if you have actors who told you they can drive and they can't, you have to deal with compromises. How do you deal with that? Do you go for compromise, or does it just have to be just the way you see it?
Compromise is a part of filmmaking. That's just the way it is. If you have one more day to shoot, you have no more money, and it's supposed to take place on a sunny day, and it rains that day, you gotta do some rewriting. You gotta compromise, yes.
What my real question was, okay, you have the time, you have the day, and you have the sun, but things which really not really on weather, but in the story. Do you go there for compromises if it's scripted differently?
Well, a lot of times the compromises you make in a script are really financial considerations because you couldn't afford the helicopter battle that took place over the Atlantic Ocean, so you had to write that out in the script.
Yeah, but I want to know how you deal with that. You go for it, or there's a battle with production, or how do you deal with that?
Well, you're talking about aesthetically or stuff that deals with money?
No, I want to know your point, how you deal with that. I mean, of course you have to talk with production, but
you improvise on the day, I think.
Yes, you have to.
Yeah. So
you have to. You might have to. You know, a lot of times you make. See, the thing about film I love is that you can't predict stuff. I wanted Robert De Niro to play the lead and do the right thing. He turned it down. In retrospect, it turned out much better that Danielle played it because therefore you had someone who's not a star and he could blend in more with the rest of the movie. So things you think at one point might not be best for the film, in the long run, turn out to be in the best interest of the film. When we had that sequence at the end of the movie in Texas, we got hit with the biggest period of rain in 50 years. I mean, it was like a downpour every day. And we were saying, oh no, it's ruined. But the rain really added another quality to that sequence that we did not think about. So, I mean, it's always
a crisis, it's an opportunity sometimes.
Exactly.
One last question from this gentleman here.
Hey.
Make it a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Are you part of the establishment and do you feel a pressure? Okay, are you part of the establishment and do you feel a pressure on yourself to be the angry, revolutionary voice of your people, Spike Lee, or do you like the fat Nike paycheck? Is that a conflict or contradiction?
Well, I don't know. You haven't seen my paycheck, so I'm not necessarily going to say it's fat. But I've never considered myself the angry black man. Number one, that's something other people put on me. That's not something I said. That's not. I never had a sign around my head that says Spike, the angry black man.
But you were in a position in the 80s.
And also I've never put myself in a position to be a spokesperson for 40 million African Americans. Every view that I've espoused was my viewpoint and not say, I'm Spike Lee speaking on behalf of so and so and so. Now, as far as the establishment part of the question, I think I'm on the fringes. You know, I'm an independent filmmaker who operates in Hollywood and uses the system for distribution and finance. So I feel like I view myself as a hybrid and trying to navigate, again, the struggle that is between commerce and art, which is filmmaking in Hollywood. And it's always been that case.
You might be on the outside, but you can work from the inside and still have a voice. It's pretty clear, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, but I think that what feels good about it is that when I started, she's going to have it Robert Townsend's film, Hollywood Shuffle, to really open up this new day of the so-called Black New Wave. And so it's not a major occurrence when a film written directed by African Americans opens today. It's like, it's ho-hum, and that's good, because that means it's not a strange bird anymore.
And just one last question from me before we wrap up. Do you still have, I interviewed you way back, you probably don't remember this, of course, but I interviewed you in 1986 in Cannes.
Yeah.
And you were bright-eyed and effusive, and it was like the magic experience you were having. I remember being introduced to you by a guy called John Pearson.
Yes.
And it was an incredible moment in Cannes that year. It was just something magical was in the air. Do you still have that same energy now? Do you still have that same sense of excitement about your films?
Yes, even more. Even more. And I think that this would be a good note to end this discussion. I say my prayers every night that I'm doing what I love. And that's making films. Because the majority of these people in this world go to their grave having slaved at a job they hate all their life. And I'm one of the lucky ones.
Go.